Hello, John Talley here with Partzilla.com. Today we're going to be working on our 2011 Polaris Sportsman 850. In particular, we're going to be looking at the front ball joint. That little booger right there. We actually have 4 of them. There's 2 on either side. So I did a pre-ride inspection the other day. When you bring up the machine, you can rock the front tire side to side, and it really looks like it needs to be replaced. So we're going to bring this up in the air, get that front tire pulled off, and look into getting this thing replaced. So let's get started. That was fun. Yeah, look at that. Wasn't a whole lot left holding that in. Alright, our pivot points up top at the frame. I'd say those bushings are worn out as well. So we're going to replace those too. Looking at the end of these little Zerk fittings where you're supposed to grease this, I don't think they've ever been used. That just doesn't sound very healthy, does it? Alright, so let's go ahead and get those out. What you can do to get to that front one, what you have up there are 2 15mm. Feed your extension through here, put on your socket, and then thread it through onto that front one. What I'm doing now is just knocking the bolt out. Alright, go ahead and shake her out of there. I'm going to take this and get some of this dirt knocked off of it, and then we'll go through the process of taking out that ball joint and possibly replacing these inner bushings because they are dry as a bone. Alright guys, we've got our press moved around over here. First thing we need to do is go ahead and remove the circlip, and then we can actually push this thing through. Now you may not have one of these sitting in your garage. This is the correct way to do it. I would imagine if you hit it hard enough, you could probably drive it out with a hammer, but I don't particularly want to show you how to do that. So we're going to show you the right way to do it. The first thing we need to do is take off the circlip on the end. This takes a little bit of manipulation. You need a collar to drive it through, so that collar needs to be a little bit bigger in the back side, just where it's got a space to drive it through. I'm cheating a little bit. I'm actually using a socket to drive it from the top. Get all of that balanced together, and we can start driving it through. A fair amount of pressure. It's not extreme. Like I said, you could probably drive it through with a hammer. Got it broken loose. Now I think we can finish it up just going directly on the end of it. There, told you. Now we can grab our new one and get it pushed back in there. Alright, just do it till she bottoms out. All we need to do, reinstall our snap ring. Just like that. Make sure she's in the groove all the way around. Well, that feels a lot better than that old one. The way it should be. Alright, let's take a look next at our pivot points up at the frame. To do that, let's bring back over our teardown bench, grab those bolts, and see just how much play there was in there. Alright, so let's take a look at our bushings now. Just grabbing one of the bolts that was holding it together. So much play is in there. I mean, obviously this thing had never been greased. That Zerk fitting is completely clogged up. So that made it wear. So let's go ahead and knock it apart so I can show you the different pieces it's made up of. Alright, you got your outer bushing, which is basically a piece of plastic. And then you have this inner, the actual bushing itself, which is actually metal. And it's covered over with grime. What you're going to see is this should have grease all around it, which will allow it to pivot back and forth instead of wearing, because there was no grease, just this mud and muck. So what it did, instead of pivoting in here like that, it was pivoting on this, and that's what caused it to wear. So that's why it's really important to make sure you keep these things greased. Otherwise, this is what you end up with. We'll go ahead and finish knocking the other section out. So, what to do next? We want to go ahead and replace all of these pieces. So the inner bushing, the outer bushing, and as well as the main bolt that goes straight through it. So give me a few minutes, go get these parts, and then we'll start reassembling it. Alright guys, I got the rest of the assembly pulled apart and cleaned up. Went to the stock room, picked up our new bushing, pivot pins, and our through bolts. I mean, that should really get us back to square one again. So basically, assembly is just the reverse of how we pulled it apart, but we want to make sure that we coat each piece with a little bit of grease as we're putting it back together, and then actually fill up the entire junction with a Zerk grease gun. So let's get this thing put back together. Go ahead and knock in just one of your bushings to begin with in each one. Like that. Those centered back up like that. Just to show you the difference, look at that. Doesn't move compared to what we did have. Alright, putting her back together is just the opposite of the way we took it apart. Show you a little trick. You've got a blind bolt like that where you can't get in there to hold it. A little bit of electric tape just to the edge of the bolt. Doesn't take a lot. You just want to be able to take the socket off. So you just run it right up to that edge. Just like that. Alright, I want to go ahead and fill up those areas. So you want to do this until you barely see it squirting out the sides. Alright, I remember what it sounded like before. How much it moved around. That's what we want right there. Alright, that's all the way through. Want to make sure that you've got it where that groove was. That's where the bolt can go through. Alright guys, well I got everything tightened back down. I went ahead and put this little axle, boot axle protector, the one on the front. And as you can tell, I mean, it really straightened out the problem. I mean, with this particular setup, or this particular machine, this time, it was just the lower ball joint as well as the lower, control arm bushings that were worn out. You may want to take a look at your top one as well as your top bushings. Make sure you get in there and get those greased. Otherwise, they're going to suffer the same fate as the ones down at the bottom. Listen, if you need any of the parts, come see us at Partzilla.com. If there's anything that I missed that you couldn't tell what I was doing and you had a question about it, just leave it in the comments section below and I'll do my best to answer it. And until the next video, we just want to say thanks for watching and keep coming back.